There's nearly a $1 million gap between the most affordable and most exclusive cities in Alameda County. And yet, so many people end up living in places that don't actually match their lifestyle or their goals. I broke it all down. Where are the best schools, best commute times, home values, and appreciation potential to help rank every major Alameda County city from worst to best using a D to S tier list. The best city for you might be the one you've completely overlooked. Let's take a closer look at where you're going to get the most lifestyle and equity for your money. Let's start off with our D tier cities, but keep in mind, these bottom tier locations don't actually necessarily mean worse for everybody. These might be your best bet if you're looking for the most affordable or entry-level home. Starting off in our D tier, we've got Oakland, California. This city is the most populous city in Alameda County and one of the most misunderstood markets in the entire Bay Area. At a glance, the median home price sits at $725,000, making Oakland one of the most affordable locations in all of the San Francisco Bay Area. And that's exactly why a lot of buyers, especially those trying to find their first home, see Oakland as a very attractive entry point into the region. But here's the reality. Oakland isn't one unified experience. It's got a patchwork of extremes. On one hand, you got highly desirable neighborhoods like the Rock Ridge, Montclair areas where homes there are still selling for over $1.5 million. Those areas offer charming architecture, walkable streets, local boutiques, lots of fantastic restaurants, and strong community vibes. On the other hand, you have parts of East Oakland or West Oakland that have been struggling with long-standing issues from underfunded schools, property crime, and inconsistent city services. What makes it even more complicated is Oakland's size, because Oakland has over 400,000 residents spread across dozens of distinct neighborhoods. So your quality of life is going to swing wildly depending on where you ultimately land. The variability of school ratings is incredibly large too. So buying in Oakland certainly requires you to do your homework to understand, is this a right city for you? From a commute perspective, the location is quite good. When San Francisco booms in the 2010s, Oakland benefited greatly because you have easy access to the BART station, Amtrak, ferries, and multiple freeways to get around. But if you're commuting from that region to the South Bay, it's going to be really difficult for you. Now, there's no denying Oakland's cultural richness. It has arguably the best food scene in the East Bay and in most of the Bay Area, while you have iconic landmarks like the Lake Merritt and the Paramount Theater, and a long tradition of arts, activism, and innovation. But it's also one of the cities that hits hardest with some of the largest deficits in the entire country. So at the end of the day though, who is Oakland ultimately good for? Young professionals, certainly artists looking for creative energy, buyers that are priced out of the San Francisco or the South Bay. But if you have a higher budget and those are things that are not as important to you, Oakland might not be the right place for you, and there are many other places, including in our higher end tiers, that might be a better fit. Next up is San Leandro, a city that flies under the radar for many Bay Area buyers, but could be a smart move for those prioritizing price and location over prestige. Located just 15 miles southeast of Oakland and bordering the Bay, San Leandro offers a surprisingly central location with also direct access to the BART station, Interstate 880, and close proximity to the Oakland International Airport. You can get into downtown San Francisco in under 30 minutes by the BART, which is not bad for the median price home here at $816,000. Now, why wouldn't I list San Leandro higher? While homes here are in high demand, San Leandro also deals with some things similar to Oakland. While crime is not as high, they generally don't have great schools. However, you are getting East Bay convenience without the median East Bay prices. And there are many pockets that have fantastic options, such as Estudio, Estates, or Bonaire. And with companies like the North Face and Ghirardelli based locally, there's also a good blue-collar employment base. But if you're laser focused more on top-rated schools, some sort of walkability, San Leandro is not going to be your best bet. Next up on the list is San Lorenzo, which is known as one of the nation's first planned suburban developments back in the 1940s. Many of its original homes still stand today, giving the town a mid-century, almost frozen in time kind of feel. San Lorenzo has 30,000 residents and offers a peaceful, family-oriented lifestyle, where this kind of place is where kids can ride bikes through quiet neighborhoods and neighbors gather at local parks like San Lorenzo Community Park. The schools are decent, the crime rates are lower than nearby Oakland, and the small town atmosphere still appeals to some other families looking for a little bit of a calmer environment close to the Bay. Now, the median price here is similar to the other two at $831,000, and so this could be a fantastic play for those entry-level single-family homes. Now, the reason why I ranked it lower is because at the end of the day, we have to put a few at each of the categories. There's no true downtown core, definitely no nightlife. doesn't have much of an economic base of its own, as most people are commuting in and out of the area. And the schools, they're not necessarily the highest rated either. Only because of that reason, it's not as high as some of the other ones, because once we get to those other tiers, you're gonna see that the school ratings significantly pick up. But before I show you the C-tier cities, do me a huge favor. Click that subscribe button if you've enjoyed these insights so far, because every single week, I am analyzing Bay Area neighborhoods, creating these market updates specifically to help individuals like you buy and sell at any given market. We've helped over 300 families in the last 7 years, and we look forward to help you as well. So let's continue. Okay, so the C-tier cities now. Now these aren't necessarily bargain towns, but they do give you more for your money compared to those other higher priced areas in the county that we'll be talking about later on. But you're still in major reach for a lot of places, which is why the East Bay is such a popular location. Let's start off with the beginning of the C-tier, Hayward. This city is located between San Leandro and Union City with a resident count of over 160,000 people. The median price is at $860,000. Now, the cool part about Hayward is that they have been trying to make a version of Santana Row themselves. So they have a lot of mixed-use, new construction homes that have been sprung up over the last several years. Moving forward, they're going to keep doing that. And so you're going to have a lot more condos, townhomes, mixes along that corridor to the east. The other places are going to be the places that have been around for some time. But you can still get some really, really nice single-family homes. Many homes at over $1.5 million, including the area of like Mount Eden and the ones in the Hayward Highlands. What's cool about this city too is that you have the California State University East Bay. So a lot of people go there instead of going through the options of like a San Jose State. Now, in general, the school isn't something that people tend to go towards, but it is a fantastic option if they have a higher budget than the different categories that we just went over, but they're still looking for the most value for the money because of the large homes they're able to buy. So any of my clients have a budget, let's say under $1.5 million, and they want a single family home, and they want a larger home, maybe let's say 1,700 plus square foot, Hayward is my top pick for that whole region to consider. Recreation-wise, you got Garin Regional Park, Don Castro, the Hayward Japanese Gardens, and even shoreline trails for biking and bird watching. And for families, there are plenty of parks, sports programs, and community events like the summer concert at the City Hall Plaza. While their downtown has been improving, it's still not a popular place for a lot of people all over to go to. But if you're local, you're probably still enjoying that downtown. So who is Hayward ultimately best for? Usually these are the buyers that are priced out of a Fremont, Newark area, but they still wanted a bigger home in that region. Hayward is the best pick for them. Next up is Livermore, a city that surprised a lot of people because not everybody goes there. Now, if you haven't, they got a lot of key things that you have to go there even for the weekends. You got wine country, which is fantastic out there. You also have the Livermore Premium Outlets. They label it as a San Francisco Premium Outlets, but that's only because of the marketing as they get tourists over. Now, the median price is much higher than Hayward, $1.1 million. Now, why did I label this one? This is starting to get that board of that B- tier. The only reason I've chosen at this level is because of commute. Unless you work remotely or you work at the Livermore National Labs, the downside is that commute from Livermore is pretty intense. Simply plot on Google Maps how long it takes to get there during the work hours, and you can see it can be an hour and a half to 2 hours one way. Now, if it wasn't for that commute and we were like back in 2020 when everybody was working remotely, I would have labeled it maybe even a B+, right? It would have been fantastic. But nevertheless, you still have a lot of great options and things to do there. They continue to have some newer developments. You can get some really, really big homes there. I'm talking about like between $1.8 to $3 million. You can get like a 5,000 square foot home there. So if you wanted a really, really big place because you have a huge family and you can't go above like 3 million, Livermore may still be one of the best places for you for that kind of property. Now, if you're good with a 3,000 square foot place, you got plenty of options that are like in San Ramon or Dublin that will be just fine for you with that kind of budget. The other thing I'll talk about Livermore is that not a lot of people know it because it's so far out, and not that many people consider it because it's so far out, is the schools. The school ratings are actually quite impressive. Many of the schools have ratings between 8s and 9s. So that's been a fantastic option for people that value school, that want a much bigger home, that has remote work. This would be then that category for you. Next up is Emeryville. Now, Emeryville is one of those places that doesn't fit neatly into any of the boxes because it is a tiny little area. Fewer than 13,000 residents live there, and there isn't actually much housing options there. The only reason why I label it higher, even though the median price isn't necessarily anywhere close to those numbers, is because it is home to a lot of cool companies. Pixar, Pete's Coffee, Cliff Bar. This city is tucked between Berkeley and Oakland, and there's a lot of stuff going on over there. So I only label it higher because there's a lot of activity, and I value like things to do in an area along with proximity. Now, price points wise, there's not a whole lot to buy. It's going to be mostly condos. So the median price is actually at $470,000. So if you are maybe a first-time buyer, a single person, a couple, someone downsizing, Emeryville is actually a pretty good option for people to think about, because it's going to be mostly these kind of condos and loft styles. It's a little bit limited, but I like that lifestyle a lot. Like whenever I go to that region, the Emeryville commercial strips are a great place to be. Okay, so now we're going to move up to the B tier category. Right now things get kind of interesting. These are usually going to be a mix of like good schools as like a key requirement, especially if you're trying to be in the East Bay part. But I still value that commute just as much. So I'm going to label Albany in here. Albany is also a very tiny city, as they only have 20,000 people here. The median price is at $1.213 million, but things tend to go very quick there because it's very small, it has good schools, and so because areas that have good schools, especially in good locations, the turnover rate there is much slower. I know a lot of people that have literally grew up in Albany and their parents still live there. They just move in with their parents, and then the parents eventually give them the house. Now, Albany High School routinely shows up on state rankings with some of the strongest academics in the area. Very comparable if you're wanting to live out in that region and you wanted a place that has good schools, but not hyper competitive like what we've seen in like a Palo Alto, Mission, San Jose, or Cupertino. Now, Albany also has a nice mix, especially along Solano Avenue. You're gonna get a nice mix of independent coffees, bookstores, bakeries, restaurants. Not a lot of places will have this kind of vibe, and so really only that part of that Northeast Bay will have these opportunities. There's also a lot of areas there, because of the location, that are gonna have sweeping bay views. And so be mindful of some of those closer on the hills, because you're gonna have amazing views, sometimes even be able to see the city. Next up is Newark. Now, Newark is on the border of the East Bay, closest to the Newark-Dumbarton Bridge. And it's one of the most geographically convenient East Bay cities because you can easily get to the peninsula by just hopping on. So if you have a job in like a Menlo Park, Palo Alto, or even a Mountain View, Newark is gonna be a fantastic option for many. Now, Newark doesn't have good schools, so this is going to be a little bit of the outlier as to why it's higher up, but the location is so important. That's why the current median home price here, even versus an Albany that actually has good schools, is $1.26 million. The reason I also label it much higher is because Newark has certain areas that have newer construction homes built in the last 15 years. And so while the single family homes are predominantly older, you're gonna have a lot of condos, townhomes, and 2 and 3 story newer single family homes that are an option for many people. Those newer single family homes will range between like a 1.5, 1.6 to the low $2 million mark. So that's why I like it a lot. You have those different options. In terms of commercial wise, you have the New Park Mall. So they're always going through changes as you have the Costco in there. You also have a lot of restaurants and Asian grocery stores and restaurants in that area. So it's very convenient with a diverse set of dining options that are available. Now, there is no real downtown there and there's no nightlife there. But because of those factors, especially with a big section of newer places, it's a great place for a lot of people to get their first place. But I see a lot of my clients, especially once their kids get into that kindergarten level, they got to figure out a good school. The private school option there isn't suitable for them, then they're moving on to other regions. Now, next up is part of the Tri-City region, which is Union City. So Union City is going to be a little bit more expensive than Newark. The historic tier of how people consider it is they look at Fremont first, of the Tri-City, then Union City, and then Newark. Now, Union City will tend to have bigger homes. It has a population of 74,000 people. The median price there is kind of similar at $1.276 million, but it's also a fantastic option for many that are looking for just a little bit bigger space. Very similar vibe as to Newark in terms of why people choose one option over the other. There is some little bit pros and cons. Newark is a little bit closer to the Dumbarton Bridge, but Union City is a little bit more insular, so you're away from the salt ponds, and you also have a little bit less traffic that drives through it because it's more inside. And then they both will also have their own mix of different like parks. I would say Union City has a little bit more / better parks than what Newark has. School-wise, it's not anything strong either. People tend to either go to private schools or once they get to a certain age, tend to try to get into Fremont or they may get across the hill out to a Dublin, Pleasanton if school is a factor for them. Now we're getting to the end of the A tier and the S tier. So what do we have for the A tier? Let's kind of go back to the Oakland region, but there's a region in Oakland that's considered Piedmont. So Piedmont is actually city surrounded by Oakland, which is kind of wild, right? This area were beautifully preserved homes from the 1920s, 1930s, and still has that small town charm feel today. It is a unique place because whatever you may think about that region, if you head out to Piedmont, it's one of the most beautiful neighborhood streets that I still recommend and find today. Now, there's a reason for that. That area, the median home price is a whopping $2.26 million. Way, way, way higher than many of the different cities all around it. But that's because you're buying into this area that has fantastic schools, because they don't just go into the Oakland school district. It has amazing, charming neighborhood feels. You're also close by to a commercial strip center where you're gonna have lots of independent cafes and restaurants. You got large, great open spaces like Piedmont Park, Dracaena Park, and Blair Park, giving residents access to all sorts of amenities like tennis courts, playgrounds, and trails. You got lots of events that happen all throughout there. It's a tiny little suburb, but it should not be overlooked if you can find something there. Now, next up is Alameda. Alameda is an island across from Oakland. Alameda has excellent schools. It's much cooler in temperature-wise because it's so close to the bay. It has two fantastic public golf courses that are some of the best public golf courses that you'll find all across the Bay Area. If you're trying to play golf in the summertime and you're not able to play those early morning tee times, that's going to be one of the best places to be because it's going to be even cool on the summertime. You're going to have lots of fantastic options for housing, Tudors, Mediterranean style houses, larger places that are built over the 80s and 90s, modern condos that have been redeveloped, especially around the former naval base. As the city continues to add more housing in a lot of key areas like Alameda Landing and the Bay Point. Now the median price here is at $1.14 million, but because the schools are so good and because it's such a hidden place, because there's a joke that if the crime ever got so bad in Oakland, they'll just raise the bridge and so they'll protect themselves. So internal joke for those that live there, but they may not actually think of it as a joke. So because you have the isolation, because you have the ferry that can go to San Francisco, and because it just feels like your own private island, that's why I rank Alameda higher than some of these other cities that we went over already before. Also, the last thing to note, if you like boating, there's a lot of great options to dock your yacht and enjoy the beautiful San Francisco Bay. Next up, we're gonna look at Dublin, across the hill. Now, Dublin is maybe one of the most balanced cities in the entire East Bay because it's also one of the newest cities. One of the cities that has grown the most because it has had traditionally a lot of land, a lot of space. This is the heart of the Tri-Valley region, with Dublin being one of the furthest BART stations in the East Bay. Now, the reason why it's so high is because you have all sorts of different options. You got starter condos, you got a lot of apartments to rent, you have newer townhomes, you got newer single family, you have older traditional single family. The median price here sits at $1.33 million, but don't let that fool you. There are many places that are over $2.5 million or $3 million for a single family home where you can get over a 4,000 square foot place. Now, Dublin, some people love it a lot because it's so planned, right? You have where your grocery stores needs to be. You have some office buildings. You have some shopping centers. You have a lot of fantastic newer parks. The school ratings are all very good. They opened up the new high school to support all those new people that have moved into this school district. The only reason why I wouldn't put it as the S tier is only because of the commute situation. If you think about a place like Livermore, Dublin is better, but it's still going to be quite the journey to get over the hill. But if it wasn't for that commute situation, this could be easy an S tier, especially those areas that are in that $2.5 million plus region. Now, next up is another area called Castro Valley. This is a hidden area that's tucked away because it has good schools, but most of the homes are older. Now, in Castro Valley, they are doing a new construction community that has these amazing single family homes that are at $2.5 million plus. But outside of that, most of it is going to be much older places. Now, this isn't necessarily a city. It's one of the largest unincorporated communities in California. But I wanted to have it because it still housed 65,000 people. Now, historically, this area was a ranch and orchard country. As Castro Valley was once known for just chicken farms and fruit groves, it still has that kind of feeling from before. A lot of people strongly love that area. So if you ask a lot of the residents that have lived in Castro Valley, they are very biased. It's pretty wild. If you ask anybody that lives in Castro Valley, they are extremely proud of where they live. Now the median price point here is actually not too bad, $1.12 million. So it's actually quite affordable for a lot of people. So for those that want some good schools, pretty affordable houses, you can get some pretty small houses at that range. Then this is a fantastic option for many. Now just be mindful, any of these places that we went over, as if they're in the hills, they're going to be a little bit more prone to fire risk. So just be mindful as you check your insurance provider to make sure is there any issues of getting insurance here. Now what's also cool and special about the area is they have this place called Cold Canyon Regional Recreational Area, which has its swimming lagoons and hiking trails. And you also have wide open spaces at nearby places like the Lake Chabot Regional Park. There's also lots of youth activities that are happening all throughout. On the weekends, you're going to see tons of soccer events, tons of baseball, tons of other sports happening, which is a really, really fun thing to see because it shows that family-run environment. Now, if you're still with me, you gotta by now subscribe, like the video, share with your friends, leave a comment with what you think. Like, do you agree with this? Or are you like, look, Spencer, you are crazy? Because I want to hear from you. Even more so, I want to work with you. But let's wrap things up with the S tier. Now, let's start with Berkeley. If there's one city in Alameda County that embodies intellectual prestige, progressive values, sometimes a little bit too much, iconic Bay Area character, Berkeley it is. Home to UC Berkeley. When I went to UC Davis, I went to Berkeley many, many times on the weekends to visit friends. It's such a cool environment because it's, on one end it's still a college town, on another end, like there's plenty of people that live there because they want to keep staying there. I don't know if they want to just keep living that vibe or what, but it's this kind of cool energy where people are getting to weekly farmers markets a lot. They are staying fit. They are enjoying world-class food. They're appreciating talking to the local butcher. I've had one of my clients retire and move out there because they like that Berkeley atmosphere. But Berkeley isn't just for foodies and philosophers. It's also been a great place for career growth because you got a lot of great companies out there, whether it's being a professor at UC Berkeley, the Lawrence National Lab, or you're just easy access to San Francisco for all sorts of great opportunity. And UC Berkeley continues to be ranked one of the top universities in the entire country, especially when it comes to electrical engineering. The school-wise there is also excellent. You're gonna have fantastic school there, and prices are still not too bad, right? The median price there is at $1.4 million, but things do move very quickly as people want to get into that area. Now, most of the homes there are gonna be a lot older. There is very little construction, and it's very difficult to build things there. And so be mindful that the type of product you're gonna be getting, the style, the materials used, the layouts, it's all gonna be a specific way. If you like boating, feel free to go to the Berkeley Marina. You're gonna have lots of great opportunities out there to hang out with people that enjoy the water life. All right, next up is Fremont. This is one of the cities that constantly gets ranked one of the happiest places to live in the country. Now, Fremont has a big range of homes too, right? On the very high end, you have the Mission San Jose district. This is the crown jewel. This is the best of the best, not just of the area, but the whole Bay Area. Very comparable and competition-wise to a Palo Alto and a Cupertino. The median price there is over $3 million, but it's not unusual to see homes with over $4 million in that area. Entry-level homes in general for Fremont is about $1.7 million. And those areas will still have average schools, not the best of the best schools, but still pretty good schools. And that's where a lot of people want to be. The other region that also has good schools is the Irvington School District and the American High School District. Now those places will range from like a $2 million to a $3 million mark, depending on which part of Fremont you are ultimately living. But based off of those numbers, it is quite affordable. There's a lot of people that can enjoy it. They have the good schools. The commute isn't too bad because of that region. Get to the different offices, but it's not nearly as bad if you're living like in Dublin or Pleasanton. And one of the things that's super unique about that city is Central Park, home to Lake Elizabeth, which is one of the largest public parks in the entire Bay Area. I play tennis there a lot. There's soccer fields, walking trails, lots of green space. The city itself, lots of great cuisine, Indian, Asian, Mediterranean, all really, really good stuff. Infinite food, no shortage of places you can dine out every single day if you wanted to. Now the good part about Fremont too is they also have so many affordable options, like 1-bedroom condos at under $500,000 to even 3-bedroom townhomes that are about like $1.3 million. As you can see, the city is such a good location. because it's as south as it gets for Alameda County, so it's the closest. But when it comes to budget, it's going to be cheaper than some of the neighboring cities as you get closer to other regions like Santa Clara or Sunnyvale. Last but certainly not least, within Fremont, you also have the Tesla factory, which has a lot of high-paying tech professionals that work there that constantly are looking for to hire people because they're usually running that factory 24/7. And we're here. We're going to wrap this up. This has been a long video, but I'm here with you. You are here with me too. We're going to wrap things up with Pleasanton. Now, you may think I thought of Pleasanton first as like maybe not as good because it's right next to Dublin, but I like it a lot because it's one of the safest, cleanest, most family-focused cities in the entire region. I like it too because it has this historic downtown district feel, yet you have many homes that are over $3-4 million, and you have some just private escapes if you wanted to. Pleasanton schools are excellent. The commute is a bummer, so I'm going to probably rate this on the S- tier relative to those other options, to those other two cities, so I don't have this in order. But Pleasanton has that fantastic lifestyle. It's got many good dining options. There's a reason why the median price is at $2.335 million. And if you want some of the best regions to live, check out the neighbors of like Ruby Hill or Vintage Hills, where you're going to see some of the most incredible homes that you will see in all of the Bay Area. Now, even across the bridge on this side, you do have some companies that have some offices there, like Roche, Workday, Blackhawk Networks. All of those have been fantastic for those that are able to work there and commute there, yet be able to appreciate what that city has to offer. So after walking you through the full spectrum of cities across Alameda County, from the ultra affordable spots to the high demand luxury areas, one thing is clear: there is something here for every kind of buyer, and a lot of people use this place as their stepping stone to get into a home to then eventually trade up. So you may not get into a top tier school right away, but you may be able to get into your first home right away. And that's where this area is so good for a lot of my first time buyers. So if you're thinking about making a move anywhere in Alameda County, Fremont, Pleasanton, Alameda, Berkeley, anywhere in between, let's set up a time to talk. Let's work together. I'd love to help you as your buyers or seller listing agent. Give me a call or text 408-547-4590. And I'd love to create the right game plan for you to help you understand the best options. See you next time.